Hey, this is Louis D. Fresh bringing it to you on a Saturday morning. I hope you are doing well. Today, we're going to do with on your YouTube channel, which will air tomorrow, January 12th, 2025, as promised. And what we're going to be talking about on your college portion of your YouTube channel, we're going to be talking about additional college costs. I got this actually from an Instagram post because, like I said, I'm no wizard at anything. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to find out more information, and it kind of made me do a little more research and about additional costs, because you always hear about tuition, you always hear about room and board, but what else do you hear about? You really don't hear much more, because people think, oh well, that's it. But there's more that goes into your college costs, and this is why I emphasize the FAFSA so much. So I think that should be my introduction, and let's take a look at additional costs for your college education to inspire you to pursue financial aid. Okay, so here we have additional college costs, and I kind of like this here. It is the tip of the iceberg. What people you always hear about, again, tuition and room and board, but you don't hear about what else goes into that college education. The first thing I wanted to mention is, again, being a native New Yorker, you don't think so much about it because the public transportation system is good. But this goes for both commuters, people who commute to their home and to college, and people who are living on campus. Parking. What is the parking situation? You can opt to bring a car. Like I didn't have a car in college. I took the New York City bus. But you may, even if you live on campus, you may want to check out what is the parking situation. Is your parking going to be outside? Is it, how far away from campus is it? Do you have handicap parking? Do they have physically disabled? Is it covered? Is it not covered? And in terms of that, because we're talking about additional costs, does it cost more to have a handicap spot? Does it cost more to have it nearer campus, further away from campus, covered or not? Now you may say, why is covered so important? This is January 2025, and usually here in this part of the world, it is winter time, and so you have snow and ice and what have you. If you have a covered parking spot, it makes a big deal. You don't have to worry about shoveling or scraping ice or things of that nature. Shoveling snow, I mean. So all of that, you may think parking is parking. Parking is not just parking. Where are you going to park? How much is it going to cost? Is parking at a premium price? If you indeed bring a car on campus, the price tag. Number 2, registration. There's always a fee involved in order to get that card, that ID, in order to get you registered for a class, in order to make sure that you fit into the class, that you're to be part of that class, the paperwork that's involved. So you may say, well, but isn't that part of your fee? No, there's in order to make sure that you register smoothly, get into what you need to get into, there is always a registration fee. So that you may say, well, that's kind of weird, but that's the reality. It's not just your tuition, that it's a registration in order to register for classes, to register for to get your financial aid, to put all these things together. There are people involved, so they need to get paid. So that's why there is something called a registration fee that can literally be hundreds of dollars, if not a couple of thousands of dollars, in the course of the school year. The facility itself, you may say, but what? You may need to pay for the mechanics of your dorm room. You know, the water, the electricity, the whatever, the Wi-Fi, because that's a big question to ask. You know, does your dorm have Wi-Fi, your resident hall? In terms of what do they have in place for, God forbid, a flood or electrical situation? Is it green? Do you have solar panels? The solar panels may wind up costing more. Is there a medical staff? Are there nurses on board for the facility? Who's taking care of that? Garbage. The facility. Do you have a recycling bin? When are your recycling days? When does the garbage come to get picked up? When doesn't it get picked up? Should it get picked up? Things of that nature. So the facility, it's not just, hey, I'm here. You're gonna have to pay for your electricity, your Wi-Fi, your water, so there are things involved within the facility of your school. Now that the numbers are still adding up, and this is why you need to get your FAFSA in, is club fees. Now you say, well, I'm not going to join a club. Generally, people do join something, at least their freshman year, to kind of get to know people, because remember, people come from far and wide, different parts of the United States, different parts of the world, different parts of your city and state. So you're going to want to join something like a drama club of thespians. You may want to join some type of music club. You may want to join some type of art club, of art appreciation, book club, some type of intramural sport, some type of sports. You may want to join something, and these things are not just, hey, welcome. No, all of these things have some type of fee associated with it in order for you to take part in that play, be part of that book club, be part of that musical instruments, be part of that sport, be part of that art. Something there is money that's going to cost you in order to be part of those clubs. So as the money keeps piling up in terms of your fees in order to go to college, travel and transportation. Now, people like me who commuted back and forth, the cost for me was a bus. It could be a subway, it could be a train, it could be something like that. But some people who even live on campus, I know, like for example, Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida, you really need a bicycle. You need a bicycle to get from class to class, from place to place. You may need a car, even just to be able to get from, to go into town. Then I'm thinking about University of Connecticut and Storrs, Connecticut. It is really in the middle of nowhere, and you really do need a car to get from place to place. Again, going back to number one, what about parking? What if you don't have any of that? Well, I'm fine. No, but you're going to be traveling. You're going to get that ticket, whether it be a train or whether it be a plane, to go back home for Thanksgiving here in the United States, Christmas time, for spring break. You may be traveling out to in case you're like in a school in Chicago, you may want to go to a warmer climate for spring break and get some sun. All of those things, all that travel is not included. Remember, when we normally talk about a price tag, we're just talking about that. We're just talking about the tuition. We're talking about room and board. We're not talking about all these added expenses that you need to take into account when you're looking at your college education. Number 6, the pink elephant in the room. Textbooks. Again, I'm talking about 2025. Many of your textbooks now are electronic. They're e-books, they're e-learning. You can rent them online. So many books now do not require this stack of books, this hardcover, like when I was a kid back in 1989, 1993, where the internet didn't even exist. And you have these books in soft cover, hard covers. You have something called microfiche, where you have to go through things. But now everything is pretty electronic, but yet that is not free. So those things, they cost money. And if you're taking 4 or 5 classes, anticipate paying, I don't know, maybe at least $100 to $200, if not more, for books for that class, for each class. We're talking about US dollars. Or if you're doing labs are part of your textbook fee, where you may have things that you may be dissecting, things, chemicals. You may be having a Bunsen burner that you're using. Things of that, they do add up the cost of those textbooks. Now, this is primarily for people who live on the campus, or residence halls. Residence halls is what they're primarily called, but I still call them dorm furnishings. And this is also going to be true for commuters in terms of what you're going to wear. You want to be able to not be necessarily fashionable, but to be able to be comfortable. So you're going to want to invest in those jeans and those sweaters or sweatshirts, or the university sweatshirt or what have you. I want to be cool, or you're part of a group or an organization, so you're going to want to wear their sweatshirt or hat or whatever. So that gets expensive. But also for people who live on campus, which winds up happening is, this is key. Write this down. You don't want to be buy things that are very expensive. Because the reality is, because my mother, God rest her soul, she used to be, they would call it a dorm mother back in the day, where she was kind of in charge of one of the dorms in College of Mount St. Vincent in the Bronx, New York. And my mom would always tell me about all the stuff that would lay behind the chairs, the TVs, even the bedding, the plastic plants, the real plants, the bookshelves. They would just leave them. Why am I telling you this? If you know you're just gonna like get rid of them at the end of the school year, get stuff that's inexpensive. Don't get anything very high end. Keep your costs low, but nevertheless you will need it, and that especially not just a TV, but a laptop. You're gonna definitely want some type of laptop, some type of tablet, something to be able to do your work on, and be able to have also a personal hotspot on your phone. I know that sounds kind of odd for dorm furnishing, but all of those things will start to add up in order to finance your college education. You need to kind of take these things into account, and to take into account the financial aid portion that I keep harping on in order to be able to subsidize these items. And that is what I got. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this airs on January 12th, Sunday, YouTube Sunday. And again, additional costs. Just don't consider the tip of the iceberg, which is tuition and room and board, but to consider all the, and these are, I'm sure there are more. These are just some items that I was researching. There might be more items, I'm sure, that you take into account that you were like, wow, maybe I never thought of that before. So that's all, and I wish you guys well, and that's it. Louis D. Fresh.